All right. Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 243, January 13th, 2025. Illinois playing tomorrow evening, in fact, folks. But they did lose on Saturday, and, that topic can't be avoided, I suppose.
Yeah, this should be a great episode because all the Illinois fans like to complain after a loss, so it should be a good one.
They should complain, but it's just
absolutely
this one.
This one's this is a tough one to lose, especially at home. Of course, you don't have KJ playing, but at 11 a.m. games, Illinois has had a problem with starting early in games in general this year. They seem to somehow find their footing, but really didn't get it going defensively. The second half, they were awful. Got out rebounded, which, I mein, it was like first to 260 something in the nation.
If I flip back a page in my notes here, all I wrote was Illinois had a huge rebounding advantage, which the numbers backed up. And then I said Illinois has held Big Ten opponents to 44.6% from two. So you look at what actually happened, 37 to 34 in rebounds for USC, and USC shot 57% from two. So the two things that Illinois had on them, USC beat them in both. So two of the many. I mean, there's a lot of things, but
people are asking, is Musselman just a better coach than Brad?
We don't have to talk about that.
All right. I think that Musselman had a really good plan defensively against Illinois. They knew that Illinois struggled, on the rub screens, and then Brad, he took a lot of blame for this. Somebody asked him what was different, and he pointed at himself and said, "Me." He said, "I was different. I overreacted. I should have kept Ben on Claude, and the way we started the game, let him keep shooting those twos over length, kept Tommy in there. We got doing things a little too much on the fly. We haven't done that all year. We were 5-way switching at times, which we haven't been doing. So AG made a couple threes, and then Brad decided to guard Claude 28 feet away from the basket, and he literally got by every guy that tried to guard him. So I think Claude was like a 26% three-point shooter. I think AG's right around that number. Brad said like 7 times how AG's made 6 threes in his whole career. So shout out to you, though, because your player to watch was Claude. Claude, is that how you say his name? I think that's correct, right?
Yeah, Desmond Claude.
You said can go off at any point, had some big games against Xavier last season, had 30 points against Georgia in his final game last season. So, if Brad would just listen to us once in a while, he'd learn some things.
Yeah, I mean, the Barstool Illini account sucks. I think we can throw that out there. They called him a random player.
That's
just stupid. I mean, he's averaging like 14 a game, right?
He
did 22 against Oregon. 20 against Cal in a loss.
He's averaging 16 a game now.
20 against Washington.
Yeah. So, and when he's point blank almost every time, I mean, I just don't understand the defensive switch to that. And Brad, of course, was questioning himself too. So it is what it is. I don't know. It's just a tough pill to swallow. Hopefully USC can find their way into a quad 2. I don't know how they got to get in the top 50 or something to get up there. So this loss doesn't look as bad, but it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't pretty from almost anybody. I almost said that we should just have no player of the game. But I text you. You were all right with going with Hummer. So we went with Hummer. About the only guy that, consistently did something. I know he's only 3 of 8 from 3. He had 15 points, 5 rebounds. He did turn the ball over the first play of the game. Tried backing down into some booty ball. But yeah, this was just a bad effort. The team looked bad all the way around. So I don't know.
USC's 76th in the net right now.
Yeah, moving on up. They moved up what? 18 spots?
I think they're 91st. They got Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, UCLA, Michigan State, their next 5.
Yeah.
Ken Palm projects all 5 of those to be lost, by the way.
Oh, they also projected this one to be a loss. So
Yeah, I'm just saying.
that's why you play the game.
I guess.
Sucks. Jay, what's up? Illinois 1-3 this year when shooting under 30% from 3. Yeah. What were those numbers you just gave me? 3 guys went 0 for 17 or something.
It was White, Boswell, and Hummer. No, White, Boswell, and Riley went 0 for 12.
0 for 12. Yeah.
3 for 21 if you put Hummer in there.
Not going to win very many games doing that.
3 for 20. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Brad talked about how the offense, I mean, they weren't rolling to the basket on some of their screens. He blamed himself for not playing Tommy enough. Tommy only played 17 minutes in this game. So
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that. He did miss that point blank shot. I think you were out of the room when that happened, but Underwood said, quote, Tommy is a huge piece for us. I didn't play him enough. Whatever it was, he was just flat. We need him and KJ. They give us a great connectivity on offense and flow and keeps us balanced on the court. He also said that the team looked like a bunch of 5th graders out there, the way they ran to the ball. It was a lot of ISO ball today. You were getting shit from people for saying Trey White had a stinker. Before the game, you said we might see Louisville Trey White, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. He seemed to try to do a lot more than what he usually does. Trey White's known as a cutter and, getting into the right spots, and he just didn't have it. Uncharacteristic of what he's been playing like. So
I actually thought Boswell had an okay game if you take away the turnovers, or at least a couple of them. I had 5 steals, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Just can't make.
You'll take those now. Like him getting 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals is fantastic. 6 turnovers hurt you, especially when he was the primary ball handler. I mean, it's not his role. I mean, him and KJ are guys that switch that off a lot. So for him to try to be the primary, I know they did it. They had Will Riley bring the ball up a few times. They had Trey White bring the ball up a few times. But I think Boswell felt there was probably a lot on his shoulders. He took some uncharacteristic threes. I'm pretty sure Brad told him to stop shooting them because he stopped taking them. But yeah, it wasn't a terrible game, but man, 6 turnovers for the guy that has the ball in his hand the most is tough. So what's up, Bergie? What's going on? Imbrats, a little concerned we have opposing players have career nights playing us. Zone stops the drive to the bucket, or am I mistaken? Brad's never gone to a zone. I don't know if he ever will. I know that Iowa just did it against Indiana and shut them down. So it'll be interesting, especially a team that can't shoot the 3 like USC. And again, Brad took, the blame for changing how the team was playing. So I know it doesn't feel good when Brad says that, but it is what it is. Hinkle says Brad also said post game the powers to be are telling him whether KJ can go or not. What are the chances those people not associated with the program and just part of his camp? I don't know about that. Brad, I think it's weird that Brad said that he doesn't talk to the doctors. I saw on Twitter today there was an article from a Lithuanian guy that said KJ said that he has tendonitis. He thinks that he'll be back for the next game, which is more than Brad's given us at all. So I don't know.
What is the next game in that scenario? Tomorrow?
I assume it's tomorrow. I think he thought having another 2 days rest. I think the interview was yesterday. So that's what it sounded like. I don't know. I mean, I don't think KJ is a guy that likes to lose. I think he'll play with a little bit of, soreness. So
Sure.
I watched
His
KJ
draft
on the
stock.
sideline. Don't think he's going to be back for a while. Really?
Don't give in to Jeffrey's bullshit.
Embrot says a much smaller guy, flat-footed, shot over Tommy in the lane. I don't think he can block shots like Booth can.
Really?
You want more Kerry Booth time? Is that what you're saying?
I was just doing what you did.
Hinkle says I'd love to see Hummer walk into
Hammer.
Brad's office. Hammer.
Hamer, isn't that an assistant coach?
Oh, Hamer, and propose screaming.
Scheming.
Scheming. Holy sh! All right. See, this my new chat would be like after Illinois loses.
Yeah, it sucks, but it is
Can
what
you
it is.
do a
I'm glad they're
podcast?
here at least. It's nice. Maybe we should just start recording podcasts because then we could do it at any time. We do it at 1 a.m. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, but they hate that.
I don't care what they want.
KJ was babying his arm a lot on the sideline. I mean, he had it wrapped too. So I don't know what happened. I think that's the biggest thing. It apparently happened during the Washington game. He had to get pretty hard to
go back and watch the film, and maybe you can investigate it.
Find the film for me. I don't know.
Just look up Illinois Washington on YouTube. Somebody's probably uploaded the full thing illegally there.
Brady says came to the podcast late. Classic trap game. These things happen. Missing top dog like last season will only pay dividends later in the season. I agree. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't think me or you thought Illinois was winning the Big Ten regular season, and I think that's what fans are upset about.
I started to think that they might.
That's true. You had them at 17-3 this year or something.
I thought the schedule looked good. They still could do that. They're 4-2.
Yeah. The thing is, like a lot of
at least the team that I picked to go 17-3 is not the team that you picked to go 17-3 because the team that you picked to go 7-3 was like an 8 seed and lost to Arkansas in the first round. And the team that I picked to go 17-3, who knows? They probably won't lose to Arkansas in the first round. They beat Arkansas.
It's true. Hinkle says the spread tomorrow is -3.5. So the Suits think he'll be playing tomorrow.
I don't know about that. I think it would be more if he was if they do think he's playing.
Yeah.
Should be at least 5.
Do you think Will Riley gets the start again tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I would. We've seen Brad long enough.
Brad's not going to change this. He probably needs the length against him.
Nor should he. Who cares? Just let him play. Let him start. He started the last game, and DGL played 12 more minutes than him. So
my thing about people were like, at least Will Riley can get rebounds. He had 1 rebound this game.
Oh, here we go. Here we go again, folks.
I'm just saying, right? He did have maybe the worst travel call I've ever seen in college basketball.
Yeah, but when you can't just bring up the rebounding when it's convenient for you because he had 6 rebounds, 6 assists in the game before, and he started. So to be fair,
what are you talking about?
What? You never brought up the fact that he had 6 rebounds against Penn State?
Sure, I did.
Okay, I'm sure.
Riley didn't look bad attacking the hoop on offense.
It's 3 for 4 from inside the 3-point line.
Yeah, stop shooting so many threes.
Yeah, he can't shoot threes right now. It's amazing that he was started. I believe he started the year 18 for 36 from 3, 50%. He is since then, if my numbers are correct, 5 for 35. I think 5 for 35 from 3 since start. That's just a total guess, but it feels right.
He's got to quit head faking so much too. He gets in the lane, 18 jukes, lets the defense get back. I don't know about that. I thought the bench was really good this game. I mean, considering DGL 31 minutes for him, 4 of 10, 2 for 6 from 3, 11 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. I'll take that from him. I thought Jake Davis was fine this game.
Jake Davis had a good game.
15
points.
minutes, 3 for 6. Got out on some breakaways, had some nice layups. Perfect from the line, 9 points, 3 rebounds, and assists for him. Merez, 20 minutes, 0 for 2, 2 for 2 from the line, 2 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. And me and Jeffrey are kind of in the same boat. Like, I wish Brad would run just a post offense once in a while. The only thing I hate about the five spread offense is that when Merez gets the ball, he's behind the basket. And I think Merez needs to be out in front of the basket to be able to make some moves instead of, having the backboard as a defender also. So they've kind of gotten out of the pick and roll too with KJ out. Like to see him get back into that, but sure Brad's going to get this figured out. I'm not worried about it. Start Merez instead of Riley and let Ben and Luke battle. I don't hate that idea. I don't hate Merez starting against Indiana, especially if Renew is still back. So, I don't know what else. I got a couple quotes from Brad. He said that he told his wife he had a bad feeling after pregame breakfast, and he said that, quote, his gut is damn near 100%. Quote, we woke up on the wrong side of the bed, isolation and trying to do things we just don't do. When you do that, you're going to be out of position. Guys don't know when shots are coming, over dribbled to the point where we pounded every nail in on the court. He was asked about KJ, this one, right? And I did address it, but
for no plays.
Excuse me?
The thing that I just put up on the screen.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I like it.
Yeah, Brad said that he stays in a better frame of mind if he doesn't know who's going to be ready until game time. He also said, quote, he didn't play. Doesn't matter how close he is. If he didn't play, it's day by day, game by game. Close is hand grenades and horseshoes. And my computer's all screwing up. So,
you didn't mention how they couldn't stop UCS inside the three.
Shut up.
UCS. That's funny.
I mean, I think I kind of did. I said Claude got everything he wanted at the basket. So.
You didn't say UCS.
I say UCS. You're right.
And Brad also said, quote, we miss KJ. You have a lottery pick not playing.
Obviously.
Not only a lottery pick, but a guy that if he gets back and continues to play the way he's playing, I mean, this is a guy that could easily, go third? Get ahead of Edgecombe and the other guy?
Yeah.
Bailey? And if he continues to play like that, I think teams would weigh between him and Dylan Harper at 2. I think there's a legitimate chance if he comes back and plays well, because I think a lot of people who have been not the mainstream people, but other people who are into the draft all year round, a lot of them I think have KJ in that 3 to 4, maybe even 2 range for some of them, because of some of the skills that he already has and how ready he is to get to the next level. So they're going to need him back for one of these 2 games, there's no doubt. I think if he's feeling 80+%, I would play him, but I guess you never really know.
Yeah, I think Brad's worried about hurting him more. So I understand that. QC Mark says one more game like that and AJ Red will be starting.
Hilarious. I think we're good on this game. I'm not upset because I understand that these types of games have happened a lot in the Underwood era. It's really annoying that you lose a game like this, but
5 of 6 11 a.m. games or something Illinois lost.
And typically
put that out there.
When the team is what we think they are, they respond well to these losses. So I think they will respond well.
Hinkle says, I think Brad is pissed he's not playing through it.
What a take that is. Jesus. All right.
You really think that it's the Lithuanians keeping him out, huh?
This is a weird global take from Hinkle. Globalist take.
It's a weird injury. They say the whole forearm was bruised and then his hand is just super swollen.
Did he take a hard fall potentially? It wasn't in a game.
Supposedly it happened during the Washington game.
Yeah, but that's what they say. I've never. Don't you think somebody would have produced evidence by now of something happening?
I don't know. That's what the beat writers are saying. I'm not a beat writer.
What the fuck are we gonna call Illinois Twitter so crazy for if they can't get this? Nobody's gone and found video of something that maybe looks like he could have gotten hurt there. What is this, some sort of Jay Leno situation? I mean, come on. You get beat up by the mafia? I mean, who knows?
Lithuanian mafia, probably.
Yeah, it could be.
Really start a story.
It's always something in early January with these teams. Last year was the Shannon thing. Now it's KJ being hurt. If they get an Elite Eight out of this, fine by me.
It's true. It's true.
All right. Let's talk about Indiana now. Illinois tomorrow night, Peacock. Watch party returns at Indiana. Illinois, I guess, dropped to 19th. I never even looked at the poll, but 19th.
Yeah, 19th. Right dropped behind. 19th. I think Oregon's 13 still or something.
Illinois 12-4, 4-2 in the Big Ten. Going into this one, Indiana 13-4, 4-2 in the Big Ten. This game's tomorrow night, 6 o'clock on Peacock. Big spot for both teams off a loss. Indiana losing. Indiana's 2 Big Ten losses this year. They lost to Nebraska in Lincoln by 17, and they lost at Indiana on Saturday night by 25. So they've protected home floor. But if you look at their home Big Ten games, it was Rutgers and USC. So who are we to say, I guess, with the USC thing? But
it's true.
Pretty typical Woodson team, I would say. A weaker non-conference schedule. They have a good record right now. They have bad metrics. Their roster is interestingly structured, and they have an interesting non-modern style of play. I think this is a pretty typical Mike Woodson team, and once it doesn't work out for 2 years in a row, why not do it a third year, or I guess a second year? I mean, it hasn't really worked out at all. They made the tournament the first 2 years, but this would be year 2 in a row of maybe it not working out. But I guess you never know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll end up getting a win like this and they catapult into a big spot. Projected lineups for them, they have Miles Rice at the 1. He is a transfer from Washington State. He has a guy that is not going to take a ton of threes, but he shoots at 30% when he does. So give him all the twos he wants, I guess, because that's all he makes. And Illinois likes to do that if you look at Desmond Claude. He had 19 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, and a block and a steal against USC. Then they have Trey Galloway, of course. We're familiar with Trey Galloway. This is his 5th year at Indiana. He had 0 points in 20 minutes against Iowa. And on the season, he's shooting it 38% from 3 after a down year at 26% last season. And they have old friend Luke Goody starting. Apparently, he started the last 5 games. They're 4-1 with him starting, 4 straight before losing to Iowa. He's been hot from 3 in the last 3 games going into the Iowa game. He was 1 for 4, but 4 for 5 against USC, 3 for 5 against Penn State, 3 for 5 against Rutgers after going 1 for 9 against Winthrop. On the season, he's shooting 37% from 3. And they have Mackenzie Mbako, former 5-star, his 2nd year there at Indiana, shooting 38% from 3. He has 6 points total in the last 2 games and a total of 31 minutes. He's played fewer than 20 minutes the last 2 games, so something to monitor there, his minutes tomorrow night. He is 0 for 8 from 3 in the last 2 after a 7 for 15 streak against Penn State and Rutgers. Omar Ballo, the Arizona transfer, former teammate of Kylan Boswell, his 5th year as a college basketball player, 68% from 2 on the year, had a big-time game against Penn State, 25 and 13. They're going to have to guard him, and Iowa did a good job against them. He had 10 points, 13 boards, 4 turnovers. I think Illinois is going to, shockingly, they have to look at Iowa's defense, an Iowa team's defense on how to kind of shut these guys down. And Iowa defense, by the way, ranked 96th in the country in efficiency, but and an Iowa defense that in the 2 games before they gave up 60 points to Indiana, they gave up 87 to Nebraska and 116 to Wisconsin. So I don't know how these things happen, but
it's college basketball, man.
Yeah, but I mean,
they went to a zone.
Thinker. Ugh.
Hold on, we gotta address this. We didn't talk about the crowd. Brady says the Orange Crush cost Illinois 20 points. Was anybody at the game? Embrats, were you at the game? Because that place seemed dead on TV, like absolutely dead.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
Go ahead.
Somehow missed the Orange Crush, worst student section in the country. Their bench led by Bryson Tucker, who I believe was a 5-star. Cannon Carlisle was a transfer. Anthony Leal and Langdon Hatton. Malik Renault did not play against Iowa. So I'm assuming if Malik Renault plays.
He went down in the Iowa game, right? Or not?
He did not play.
Oh, okay.
He played against USC. No, he hasn't played. He didn't play against USC either. Okay. He went down in the – okay, he didn't play against Penn State. Okay, guys. He went down against Rutgers. He started. So he started as opposed to Ballo against Rutgers. Okay. And he went down early because it says he played 0 minutes, but he probably played like just under 1. So he went down at the very beginning of that game. He's missed 3 straight. So we'll see if they have him back. He's been a factor. I mean, he's scored pretty efficiently inside, 67% from inside the three-point line. He's not a terrible free throw shooter. He is a terrible three-point shooter, but he was really the only source of offense for Indiana last year at Illinois. So we'll see if he plays. I haven't seen any updates. Figured the chat would be on it for us, but that's fine.
Thanks for nothing.
The computer numbers, Illinois is 24th in adjusted offensive efficiency. Indiana's 63rd. Adjusted defensive efficiency, Illinois is 11th, and Indiana 49. So they're barely top 50 in one metric between offense and defense. And I'm supposed to believe that this team is as good as Michigan or Michigan State or Purdue or Illinois. Yeah, no. Nobody believes that. Stylistically, if that's a word, Illinois is 20th in the country in three-point attempts per field goal attempts in terms of percentage. And Indiana, typical Mike Woodson team, 326th. That is not modern basketball. And it's not a formula that I think will win anything in the current – like, okay, let's think about this. Louisville was healthy. They killed Indiana. Gonzaga beat it. Like, could you see a team like Indiana looking like they belong on the same floor as, let's say, a Florida or an Auburn or Tennessee or, Duke? Like, do you think Indiana would look like they belong against any of those teams? Because I really don't. They didn't look like they belonged against Gonzaga. They're probably lucky Gonzaga only beat them by 15. Ballo had a huge game against his former team. Mbako had 13, and then the rest of the guys were all in single figures while, Gonzaga looked like a team. Their starters all scored over 10, and their top guy at the bench all scored over 10. So I just don't see a scenario where Indiana can even come close to competing with the quote-unquote big dogs. I mean, their most impressive win of the year is probably the semi-home against Penn State. And then after that, it's them beating South Carolina by 16 on November 16th, which – South Carolina, the team that we saw on Saturday that almost beat Auburn without Chennai Broom, he went down. But that's probably not the same South Carolina as what Indiana saw earlier in the year. So it's annoying to me that Indiana doesn't test themselves enough in the non-conference. And who am I to say? Because if you look at the strength of schedule metrics, overall Illinois 28th strength of schedule, Indiana 56th. But here's where Illinois playing this is how the system is kind of rigged right here, folks. 255th non-conference schedule for Illinois. Illinois played Tennessee. They still played Duke. They played Alabama. And they played Arkansas, who's really not that good. But I'm not – and Missouri, quality, top 40 right now in KenPom, Missouri. Indiana, 160th non-conference. But you know how they got it? Because Illinois played Eastern, as did Indiana, but SIUE, Oakland, Maryland Eastern Shore, Little Rock, Chicago State. Like those really, really, really bad teams make it look like when Indiana plays South Carolina, who's not very good, UNC Greensboro, who's 125th, so they're a higher level mid-major, Sam Houston State, Miami of Ohio, Chattanooga, Winthrop. Like they're not playing really bad non-conference teams. They're playing non-conference teams that they know they can beat. And that is why, for some reason, the non-conference schedule, when Illinois played a team that was ranked number 1, a team in Alabama who's bona fide top 10, Missouri, who could make the tournament, remains to be seen. We'll see how it shakes out in the SEC. I don't think they're very good, but the metrics say that they're better than Indiana. And then Arkansas, who I don't think is very good either, but also the metrics say they're better than Indiana. So Indiana knows how to rig the non-conference metrics because that is outrageous if you look at those two schedules. And I would take Indiana's schedule 100 times out of 100 over Illinois' schedule in non-conference. But
Yeah.
And Indiana's going to have a tough ride. Like they don't play any team. Like there's no team in the Big Ten that Indiana plays outside of a couple for the rest of the season that I think has no chance to make the tournament. Like Northwestern is not, I don't think they're going to make the tournament. And if they do, they'll be hanging their hat on an Illinois win. Same for Washington. Obviously, they're not going to win, but they're not going to make it. Penn State probably not going to make it either. I don't see Penn State making it. But Indiana scheduled the rest away. Illinois, Ohio State, Northwestern, Maryland, Purdue, Wisconsin, the back-to-back Purdue, Wisconsin on the road.
On the road.
Home against Michigan, but then they go to East Lansing, play Michigan State. Then you're home against UCLA, home against Purdue, home against Penn State, at Washington, at Oregon, and then Ohio State. So to me, this Indiana team will soon exit stage. Is it left or right when you're exiting a stage? Left, right?
Left. I think it's left.
They will be doing that soon when it comes to competing for a Big Ten championship because they're really not even in the fight now. I know they're 4-2, and hell, they might be 5-2. This would be a big win for them, but I just don't see them being able to win enough games in the Big Ten. I think their best case scenario is 11-9, and I think that might be me being nice. But from what I've seen from Indiana in the Woodson era and what I've seen this season, I don't think this Indiana team will do it. And maybe I'll look stupid, but whatever.
Yeah. Jeffrey says every team we've lost to is more physical than us.
Jeffrey, do you look at Alabama as a physical basketball team? Maybe more physical than Illinois, I guess, but not to me. They're not a very physical team.
Which is weird. Besides...
They're flash. They're a flash team.
Yeah.
They're number 2 in offensive efficiency. Of course, they score inside the three-point line more often. That's where they're really elite. But, they got Sears, Nelson, Holloway. These aren't physical players. They got some bangers underneath, as does Illinois, I think, when they need it. But, no shit, Tennessee's more physical than Illinois. Shocking. I'm shocked to hear that. And, you have to be a mix of physical and flash to win anything. That's exactly what UConn has been the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's exactly what they've been. They scored 100 points. How are they more physical? They made a ton of threes, which is a little bit uncharacteristic for them. Jeffrey, I really question if you watch the games. I really question that. They murdered them inside the three-point line, but that's just because Illinois was focused on guarding the three early after they took 34 threes. They just got a ton of shots up. Illinois out-rebounded them 44-37. I don't see how that rebounding is something that it takes, you got to be physical to do.
Yeah.
And Illinois is one of the best rebounding teams in the country. So I think it's crazy to call out this Illinois team as a non-physical team. They might be less physical when Kaspers is not playing because Kaspers is a pretty physical guard. He's not afraid to mix it up.
Yeah. Humrickhouse, maybe a little non-physical.
And Riley, that's it.
Yeah.
DGL's not afraid to get physical.
Boswell's definitely not.
Tomislav, a little bit of a soft European, but still, I think he'll mix it up. Trey White, same thing. Merez. Northwestern's more physical because they have no skill. That's probably a little much, but still.
Sloppy basketball.
USC in that game, I don't know if it was about physical. I think there's a difference between physicality and toughness. I thought USC was tougher in the sense that every time Illinois made a run, they kept making shots. And
Illinois had no way to stop Claude. And
there's a difference between physicality and toughness.
And I equate that to overplaying him from 28 feet, and he got by everybody. His first step was quicker than anybody that was guarding him.
And USC made more threes than they normally do. They shot better from three than they normally do. That one guy who was 2 for 9 in the year made 3 of them.
Yeah.
See, okay. One of the problems, Jeffrey, we appreciate you coming in. It's true. It's fine. But one of the problems every year, and it's the same thing every year, is there has to be a conclusion drawn about the team when they lose a game. And I understand wanting to do that, but I don't make me say the word label again. I'm not going to say the word label. I will not do that. I'm not doing the label thing again. I refuse, because that pissed me off quite a bit more than it should have. But I'm not going to draw any conclusions. If they get out-physicaled and score 60 points tomorrow night, then we could have a lot more of a conversation about it. They scored 72 points. They gave up 82. You don't give up 82 points the way that USC scored them. It's not like Claude was banging into guys and just, throwing up shots off of them.
Right.
Exactly. This team is not
plenty physical. Some of those teams are just more athletic and confuse it for physicality.
Northwestern's not athletic at all, so we're not talking about them.
Yeah, Northwestern played the way they needed to play to win a game. I mean, that is what it is. So,
whoa, jeez. I could take mine out and not drop it. Everybody saw that.
Congratulations. All right. Players to watch. We going to that? Or
yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with Tomislav again. I went with him last game. I'm going to go with him again this game because Brad himself said that he needs to use Tommy better. So I think that Tommy's a huge part of this team being really good, and he's got to start figuring it out. So, and then I'm going to go with Omar Abalo. He is a true center, 7 foot, 265 pounds, averaging 14 points per game, 2 blocks per game, 10 rebounds per game. His best 2 scoring games were against non-traditional bigs in USC and Penn State. He scored 23 and 25 in both of those games. So Tommy's gonna have to get physical, and he's gonna have to do some things. I think we see a little bit of Merez in there too. I just don't know if Merez has the height. He might have the physicality, but I don't know if he has the height to stop Ballo. So I think the big battle is going to be fun in this one.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Let's see. Yeah, there's no update on Renault because that's going to matter for Tomislav's game. By the way, 6 days ago on Sleepers Media, their channel, they said Woodson apparently said that Renault won't be back anytime soon. 6 days ago, so wouldn't expect to see him in this game, but you never know.
Right.
I'm going Trey White for Illinois. He's got to have a better game. It's that simple. I mean, I wasn't picking on him when I said he had a stinker, but I had a feeling
I don't know why people
would have one at some point. Well, it seemed like a Florida State Illinois guy, kind of a weird combination, if you ask me. Not as weird as Oregon Illinois. Oregon just flashy program. Makes sense why people like them in other sports. It makes a lot of sense. Everybody knows that. Luke Goody for Indiana, revenge game. I've been trashing Luke Goody this year.
His business degree that he got.
It's just because you face your former team. That's nothing more than that. Okay. Relax.
All right. How many threes does Luke Goody have this game?
I think he goes 3 for 10. I think he'll be pressing a little bit, but get 3 out of 10.
Who's guarding Luke Goody? Trey White?
Could be. We'll see. I'd rather see. I don't know. I don't know if I want Hummer guarding Mbako.
I mean, obviously, Boswell's guarding Miles Rice.
Yeah, I say we roll the ball out and go. Any concern about Miles Rice being a guy that primarily scores from inside the 3-point line and being a little bit?
I think Boswell be all right. Brad did say like things changed when Boswell picked up his 3rd foul. Like, is Brad going to start trusting his players to not foul? He ended with 3. He picked up his 3rd. Brad benches him, ends up with I
would say with certain officials, Boswell could have had 11 fouls called on him in that game just because of how many steals he was getting.
That's true.
And the other thing with Rice is that he is smaller. He's 6'3", 185.
Yeah,
I think that's a good matchup for Boswell. And for Galloway, he'll be guarded by Kasparis or Will Riley, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we'll see. Keep an eye on Bryson Tucker in this game. I can see him having a big game off the bench. He's really struggled to shoot it this year. He's 41 for 96 from inside the 3-point line, and from outside the 3-point line, he's 1 for 16. But he had a couple good games in a row here. He had 9, 4, and 1 against USC, and then 9 and 4 against Iowa, shooting a combined 8 for 18 from 2 and 8 for 20 from the field. Keep an eye on him. I hope that this is another thing where you're like, well, you said that, and then he had 30 points. I don't think it's going to be that. Trust me. All right. Predictions.
I I think this is in the race. Everybody wants to win the Big Ten title, right? This is a big game. Both teams are 4-2. You don't want to go to 4-3. I think Brad's going to get things right. I think Illinois is going to be okay, and they're going to win this one on the road, 83-78.
It's crazy to me that I think some people would see Indiana's 4-2 as better than Illinois' 4-2, and I don't know if anybody said this, but I feel like that's out there. When Illinois has a 32-point win at Oregon, a win over Wisconsin, and a 39-point win against Penn State. But I just want to throw that out there in case people think that. I think you might be a little wrong. But, in terms of the losses, Illinois, USC, Northwestern is certainly worse than Iowa, Nebraska on the road. So just to be fair. I'm going to go 78-72. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring than Illinois would like it, but they can find a way to get it done at the end. That's typically what Brad teams do off of a loss like this. You look at last year, after they lost that game to Maryland, they played at Michigan, and obviously not a very good Michigan team, but they beat them by 15. And then they went back home and played Rutgers and won by 23. I think that was the first game back for Shannon against Rutgers in that one. So, and then if you look, elsewhere, games that they lost, not home games that were rough, but road games, they lost at Northwestern in overtime and bounced back with Indiana, Ohio State, Nebraska, 3 straight wins. So off of a loss last season, Illinois did not lose any games back-to-back in the Big Ten. After losing to Purdue on March 5th, they beat Iowa to end the season. Then they beat Ohio State, Nebraska, Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship. So haven't lost 2 Big Ten games in a row since the Matthew Meyer, Terrence Shannon season where they lost to Penn State and Indiana on the road back-to-backs. So,
yeah, you asked me if I was worried about Indiana coming off a loss. I think Illinois came off a worse loss. They weren't on the road playing on the math. So I think Illinois it should be more fired up.
Both teams played poorly.
I honestly just don't think Indiana players give a rat's ass about basketball. So besides,
shots fired. I'll tell you this. I understand that Illinois lost to a worse team and it was at home, but Indiana got punked by Iowa.
Yeah.
There is no world where any team in the Big Ten should score 60 points against Iowa. We'll see who's the better motivator.
Hinkle says Brad basically said in today's media availability.
Okay, we can't just say basically and then say something like this
about wins and losses at this stage of the season.
Give me the actual quote, Hinkle, if you want to be a fucking journalist. Underwood, by the way, 2-3 against Mike Woodson all time, and 1-1 in Bloomington. He won the first matchup in Bloomington and lost the previous one. 2-3 against Woodson is not ideal.
Not great,
but one of those was a Big Ten tournament loss where Curbelo and Hawkins blew it. Right? That happened, didn't it?
Sounds
You
right.
were there, right?
Sounds right.
Gottlieb Day, right? Gottlieb coming through in the clutch.
Mm.
That definitely happened.
At the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah.
That was Curbelo missing a layup.
Yeah, so I said Curbelo blew it against Indiana.
I wasn't listening. Sorry. My daughter texted me.
Jesus. All right. So we both think Illinois is going to win. We'll be live tomorrow night around 5:50, 10 minutes before game. I'll try to see if the Apple TV will work to where the Peacock isn't behind like it was against Wisconsin. But I think Illinois, by the way, 3-0 in Peacock games, maybe. They beat Ohio State on Peacock last year. I don't remember another one. They're at least 2-0 on Peacock. Oh, did they play Purdue on Peacock last year? They might have. That last Purdue game might have, yeah. So maybe they're 2-1, or 3-1 or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, 2-1. I don't care about paraphrasing. You can't say something that insane and then say basically. What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, it's basically what he said, though.
But I need to know what he actually said so I can say if that is basically what he said. It's called paraphrasing. Yeah, beating Indiana by 10 is a real blowout, Jeffrey. Great take. Around the Big Ten and college basketball.
Holy cow.
Auburn survives a close one at South Carolina. Janai Broome goes down, but they get it done. They're now 15-1. Tomorrow night, they play home against Mississippi State. Mississippi State coming off of a tough loss, 95-90 at home against Kentucky. Now they go on the road to Auburn, and we'll see. I have to assume Broome won't be back for that based on what we saw in that game. Cooper Flagg, welcome to college hoops, young fella. dominant in the Duke win over Notre Dame. He had 42 points on 11 of 14 shooting, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal, 16 of 17 from the free throw line. So he got to the stripe. No doubt about that. And Florida and Tennessee both getting Saturday wins. Florida continues to roll. That's a really, really good Florida team. One loss in the year was going to Rupp Arena and scoring 100 points and losing to Kentucky by 6. They beat Arkansas by 8. Last week for Florida, they beat Tennessee and Arkansas combined 38 points. They play Missouri and Texas this week at home, so they'll continue to rise. They're 15-1, 5th on KenPom. Whoa, I don't regrip clubs. Nice try, Hinkle. Ha! The only one here that's regrip clubs is the other guy, not me. The SEC is a war. I mean, the only teams in the SEC that I look at is, hey, this team's going to make a run. Auburn, Alabama, Florida. I can't even get there with Tennessee right now. Ole Miss is a fine basketball team. Tennessee's fine. Texas A&M is fine. Mississippi State's fine. Kentucky can't defend, but they can score. Georgia's got a good defense. Missouri, Vandy, Texas, Oklahoma, they all are what they are at this point. There is not one truly bad team in the SEC. Every team has 10 or more wins. The worst team in the conference, quote unquote, by record overall is a 10-6 South Carolina team that lost by 1 to Auburn, or 3 or whatever it was. It's they lost by 3, right? Because they made those free throws 66-63. Yeah, so the SEC's war. Michigan and Michigan State, I think, have kind of separated right now in terms of the Big Ten as what we look at as the 2 best teams. I would argue that Illinois is really, really close with those teams, as I think Purdue probably is as well. And Purdue's schedule obviously lends itself to, if they go into Oregon and win, I think they're really set up to potentially make a run at the Big Ten championship again. They've won 5 in a row now. And then this week they go Washington on Wednesday and then at Oregon on Saturday. That'll be an interesting game. Saturday afternoon on NBC, Purdue at Oregon. See if how Purdue's offense holds up. I think they'll be fine. But Shellstad has been playing pretty well for the Ducks ever since the Illinois game. He had 23 against Maryland, 24 against Ohio State, 17 against Penn State. He's got a total of 13 assists in those 3 games as well. And he's shooting 12 for 17 from 3 in those games. So 37% of the year. So something to watch for there. College basketball tonight, don't bother watching. There's nothing on. That was a joke. There's one game. FS1 coming up in about 39 minutes. UCLA at Rutgers. That is a get ready for a Mick Cronin classic if they lose that game against a Rutgers team that I would say Rutgers is the definition of not being physical enough for what their coach needs them to do. I would label Rutgers that. They've lost 4 of 5. They're 8-8 in the year. Oof. Not good. Troubling, some would say. And then tomorrow's a much better slate in college basketball. You got Texas A&M, Kentucky, Baylor, Arizona, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Iowa, USC, Villanova, Xavier, Ole Miss, Alabama, Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, Auburn, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Coleman Hawkins. The list goes on and on. And I think we're good. We'll be back tomorrow night for the game.
Yeah. Sounds great. I think my dog might have pooped in the house, so I'm going to go clean that up.
You get up on the
later.
podcast. So, all right. We'll see everybody next time. Goodbye.